I don't know enough of the details of the budget situation right now to offer an informed opinion. But what I will say is that this is a extremely dangerous time in the global economy and for India. There is lots of positive opportunities from the tremendous investment in AI, the productivity possibility, growth possibilities that we are seeing in the West. But there's also a lot of danger from becoming too reliant on entities that can squeeze us and being vulnerable because we don't have a natural market which is nearby, which is rich, that we can supply to other than our own. So we have to look to creating the conditions domestically uh, that we can sort of survive, but we also need to make as many sort of relationships as we can. The issue we were talking about earlier, including with our neighbors, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and so what I would uh, say is the budget has to be integrated with our medium term objective. What are we trying to do? And does the budget take us some way there? Earlier, we used to have 5 year plans, but even then, the budget was not well integrated with a 5 year plan. Now we don't have a 5 year plan. And the question is what the budget should be integrated with. But I think it should be integrated with a longer term vision. How do we become more resilient, more independent as an economy, but also fast growing so that everybody else wants to be friends with India? That requires a fair amount of work, and I'm hopeful um, Mrs. Sitaraman's budget will take us there. It's an interesting time, certainly for the global economy and then for the Indian economy, because what you're seeing is growth above expectations, both in the US as well as Europe, and even to a certain extent in Japan. Um, China is managing to meet its growth targets, but there's a lot of questions about whether it's meeting it by just flooding the world with exports. But as far as the US and Europe go, the U.S. consumer still is spending, some to some extent by eating into savings, and that's because you see two aspects to the current growth. One is that it is not that jobs are still reasonable. Firms aren't hiring that strongly, but they're not laying off people. And second, there's been a fair amount of productivity growth in the US, which has allowed firms to pay higher wages without inflation, taking off. Inflation is still above the Fed's target, around 3% on the core PCE, but it's not spectacularly out of bounds. And so the Fed has also been cooperating by reducing interest rates. There's a lot of stimulus coming now, around 200 billion worth of stimulus from the tax cuts in the one big beautiful bill. So all said, I think the baseline scenario is for strong US growth, despite the uncertainty. Of course, uncertainty creates its own problems. So far, it hasn't derailed growth. That is not to say it will not. One can imagine a dramatic uncertainty that could do that. Similarly, in Europe, with the additional fiscal stimulus from Germany, the additional defense spending, growth has also been quite strong, above what they projected, and especially in the more peripheral areas, what used to be called the pigs during the global financial crisis. Those are doing very well. Portugal, Ireland, Greece, Spain, they're doing very well. The core is also okay. So, broadly speaking, the world is growing reasonably. And of course, India is the fastest growing by the measures that we have, fastest growing large economy. And that's to be celebrated. The uh, questions we can come to after this.